Ang Pilipinas Ngayon. Narito na ang pinakamainit na mga balita na nakalap sa bawat sulok ng bansa. Ihahatid sa bawat Pilipino saan man kayo sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon. Pakinggan ang bawat kaganapan sa bawat lalawigan. Ito ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Magandang araw sa ating mga tagapakinig. Welcome po muli sa ating programang Ang Pilipinas Ngayon. Napapakinggan po ninyo saan mang bahagi ng mundo sa pamamagitan ng ating himpilang radyo Pilipinas World Service ng Presidential Broadcast Service. Napapakinggan po tayo sa mga sumusunod na shortwave frequencies sa 9.960 MHz, 12.120 MHz, 15.190 MHz at sa ating official Facebook page, Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Ito po si Bea Gaza, samahan po ninyo ako sa kabuuan ng ating programa ngayong araw. Kapapalooban pa rin po ng mga mahahalagang balita mula dito sa ating bansa kasama ng mga ulat mula sa iba't ibang rehiyon ng Pilipinas. Antabayanan po at sasainin na sa ilang sandali ang kabuuan ng ating programang Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Mga kaganapan sa Kamaynilaan at mga kalapit na lalawigan dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Sa ating mga balita, pinulong ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang iba't ibang opisyal ng ahensya ng pamahalaan upang talakayin ang relief efforts at magbigay ng update hinggil sa epekto ng Bagyong Christine sa ilang mga lugar. Sa unang situation briefing, nabanggit ng Pangulo na ipinag-utos na nito ang distribusyon ng ayuda at pagiging alerto sa pagresponde sa mga nasalanta ng Bagyong Christine. Ayon sa ulat ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council o NDRIMC, nagdala ng matinding pagbaha ang Bagyong Christine sa iba't ibang mga probinsya at umabot na sa 430,000 na mga pamilya ang apektado. Katumbas ito ng 2 milyong individual sa 12 rehiyon. Pakinggan natin ang situation briefing na pinangunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
The next items will be the presentations on by the different agencies. First of all, the weather situation from Pag-asa. Where is the storm? What is the
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. At maraming salamat po sa ating lahat. Magandang umaga po. So for the tropical cyclone update kay Tropical Cyclone Christine, severe tropical storm. So for today, makikita po natin na as of 8 a.m. location, nasa 200 km west of Bacnotan, La Union. So yung movement niya medyo bumagal po ngayon west-northwest at 15 km per hour as of 8 a.m. Analysis. And then intensity po niya nasa 95 km per hour and then gustiness up to 115 km per hour. So next slide po. So ito po yung mga rainfall distribution throughout the country from October 21 Monday until October 23 Wednesday. So makikita po natin na ang concentration ng Monday ay dito sa may Bicol region. Then tumataas, nagiging from moderate to heavy, nagiging intense, and then nagiging torrential. So and then on October 23 Wednesday, makikita po natin na nagsishift na dito sa may Cavite, Mindoro, Batangas area ang concentration po ng mga malalakas na pag-ulan, pati na rin po dito sa may part ng Cagayan Valley. Next slide po. So ito po yung top 5 highest observed rainfall ng October 22. Register po tayo ng 528.5 millimeter in 24 hours sa Daet, Camarines Norte. Yung kung kukumpara natin sa stations normal ay 489. So, may increase po tayo ng 107%. So, sa Legazpi, 431. And then, kung ikukumpara natin, nagkaroon po tayo ng increase ng 134%. So, sa Huban at sa Mulanay, wala pa po tayong stations normal. Pero ang recorded rainfall sa Huban, Sorsogon ay 406. Sa Mulanay, Quezon ay 384.6. At sa Verac, Catanduanes, nasa 82% satisfied na yung buwan ng October. Naka-register po tayo 327.3. Next slide po. So ito po yung 3-hourly rainfall yesterday. Pakikita po natin mga intense, yung mga nasa violet and then nasa intense to torrential rainfall po yan. Makikita natin na dito sa may Batangas, Cavite, Mindoro area, nakakoncentrate yung mga malalakas na pagulan. And then dito po sa may bandang western part, sa may Ilocos region, itong Dagupan, sa may Pangasinan, and then Iba, Zambales, nagkaroon din po ng mga intense to torrential rainfall. Next slide po. So ito po yung status ng mga dams natin. So 6 out of 10 dams nag-open na po ng gates. This is in coordination with the different agency like NIA and then POCOR. So makikita po natin yung Ipo and Bustos Dam, yung cascading dams along the Angat River in Bulacan. So ang possible maapektuhan ng municipalities, ito pong Norsagaray, Angat, Santa Rafael, Bustos, Baliwag, Pulilan, Plaridel, Kalumpit, Baumbong at Hagonoy. Ito naman pong cascading dams ng Agno River. Ito pong Ambuklao sa may Bocod, Binga sa may Itogon at San Roque sa may Pangasinan. Ang maaari pong barangays na maapektuhan dyan, sa may Ambuklao, ito pong barangay sa may Ambuklao, sa Binga, ito pong barangay sa Dalupirip and Tinongdan. Sa may San Roque, municipalities of San Manuel, San Nicolas, Tayug, Asingan, Santa Maria, Rosales, Villasis, Santo Tomas, Alcala, Bautista at Bayambang. So next slide po. So sa Magat Dam naman sa may Isabela, yung municipality po ng Alfonso Lista sa Ifugao and the municipalities of Ramon, San Mateo, Aurora, Cabatuan, Luna, Reyna Mercedes, Burgos, Nagilian, and Gamo. Lahat po yan nasa probinsya ng Isabela. So next slide po. So ito po yung ating scenario for the tropical cyclone, yung nasa labas ng PAR. Sa ngayon po, tropical depression na siya. So inaasahan natin by tomorrow evening, papasok na ito ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. So possible, lalapit po yan by next week. It's either October 29 to 30. Close approach po yan dito sa may Northern Luzon. Dalawang scenario, maaari mag-recurve and then muli dito sa may extreme Northern Luzon. So pag may mga significant updates, significant changes, update po natin. Next slide po. So yun lang po. Maraming salamat po.
All right. Thank you. Yung sa storm track, yung una atang linabas ninyo. I saw a report that pwedeng bumalik. The storm umikot na eh. How far do you think? What is the forecast for that? Maaari pa bang bumalik?
Yes sir, may scenario po na maaaring bumalik siya, pero paglabas po ng PAR and then babalik siya, papasok lang din po uli and then lalabas na uli. So hindi na po siya masyadong didikit sa western part ng Luzon.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to make landfall for the damage to occur.
Yes sir.
Kung titignan mo, ito din yung sa radar. Yeah, exactly that. Yung pula, ang laki ng coverage. Malayo na yung bagyo, pero nandiyan pa rin ang ulan. And then there's that low pressure area as well that will follow. Yes, sorry.
Essentially, Christine will be in that area for a week more. Isang linggo siya hanggang end of next week.
Yeah.
So, yun yung kailangan din nating bantayan.
Oh, God. All right. Okay. Well, it is what it is. We just have to deal with it. All right. Thank you for the weather situation report. Now we will go to DILG, Secretary John Vic, for the affected communities report.
Sir, Region 4A and 4 and 5 were most heavily affected. In the entire country, those affected is Region 1, 2, 3, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, 5, 8, CAR, and NCR. Affected LGUs were 44 provinces, 73 cities, 733 municipalities, 14,666 barangays. We had for operational 5,791 evacuation centers, of which 19,961 families were evacuated, and 64,000 served in the evacuation center, 64,000 families. As of now, sir, most have been, except for the Naga region, most have returned back to their homes. So we are still waiting for the reports on the status of the evacuation centers. But no reports of crimes against people in the evacuation centers, sir.
This is as of when?
As of 7 o'clock this morning, sir.
This morning?
Yes, sir.
So it's fairly accurate.
Sir, most of the deaths occurred in Batangas and in Naga.
Batangas.
Batangas because of the
Yeah,
landslide?
Naga, because the water is still there.
Yes.
Hindi umaalis yung all the downstream from Albay
That's right.
ends up there.
So
That's
there's
why- that's
still 7 people missing and 10 confirmed dead in the Naga area. In Batangas, 7 confirmed dead. I think 3 missing.
Okay. So at least in Central Luzon,
There were no reports of damage to no reports of casualties in Central Luzon. sir.
of casualties, but damage to thoroughfares, we can still go in.
Yes, everything is possible.
Okay.
Sir.
That's the problem we're having with Bicol, is ang hirap pumasok.
Yes.
Both because of the weather and the flood, the continued inclement weather and the access. All right. All right. Thank you. Next, the report will be from Secretary Jimmy Bautista of the OTR on the infrastructure and transportation situation. I think we're mostly concerned with are the ports. Have we been able, has the Coast Guard allowed us to open any of the ports that were, there were 34 of them, I think, that we closed in Region 5?
There were 115 ports affected,
Ports that were closed.
Mr. President. No?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hindi, yung sa PPA. Oo. Anyway, sige.
yes,
keep
sir.
going.
There were 115 ports affected. There were 10,236 stranded passengers. 2,699 rolling cargos were stranded. The Philippine Coast Guard has deployed 226 teams, rescuing around 142,000 individuals in 11 regions. There were some reported missing fishermen, Mr. President, 2. One is in Poro, Barangay Poro, City of San Fernando, and the other one is in the vicinity of Buena Vista, Quezon. No? The Philippine Coast Guard, together with the Philippine Ports Authority, have extended assistance to all these affected individuals. And I think one of the biggest affected is the Matnog port. No? Until now, no movement of vessels yet. No? But the Philippine Coast Guard will allow the vessels to sail if the weather condition improves. No? In the airport situation, Mr. President, all the airports are operating right now. There are no reports of major damage. No? The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines and the OTR are on standby in all the airports, so we can coordinate for possible distribution or transport of relief goods. So we're coordinating with all the other agencies, Mr. President.
All right, so we're at least able to take care of the stranded passengers at our ports.
Yes, sir.
So the airports are operating.
Yes, sir. Right now, all the airports are operational. No? Maybe next slide, please. So these are the affected passengers, 67 delayed flights from October 21 to October 24. There are almost 29,000 passengers affected, either by delayed flights, canceled flights, or diverted flights. Next slide, please. So these are the regions affected, as mentioned earlier. 10,475 passengers were stranded, no? 111 vessels, and 2,839 rolling cargos. No? These are the rescue evacuation efforts from the Philippine Coast Guard. As I mentioned earlier, the Philippine Coast Guard has deployed 226 teams. They have deployed 130 aluminum and rubber boats. So the Philippine Coast Guard continues to monitor all these ports, no? And will issue clearance to sail when the situation improves. No? Next slide, please. So some of the operating lines, this is for the Philippine National Railways. There's no operation in Naga to Legazpi, Naga to Sipocot, and Calamba, Lucena. No? In Naga, the other day, the station was submerged with water. The officers of PNR assisted many passengers and employees, no? See to it that they are safe. The other, these are actions taken, removal of trees and debris ongoing, cleaning of stations in Naga, and as I mentioned, they have accommodated evacuees in Naga and Iriga. No? Next slide, please. So these are some of the pictures that were taken in Naga and Iriga. No? Next slide, please. No? For LRT1, fallen tree, there's fallen tree between EDSA and Libertad Station. And the operator, the Light Rail Manila Corporation's engineering personnel were on site working to safely remove part of that tree. No? So yesterday at 7 p.m., the damage to the catenary system and have been worked on. No? So LRMC implemented limited operations and it will be operational today, Mr. President. No?
All right, but at least that final highlighted that by 6:10 a.m. LRT1
Yeah,
has
yeah, that's
resumed from
resumed full
Baclaran
operations.
to Roosevelt.
Yes, sir.
It's now Fernando Po Jr. Station.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So it's coming along. It's just we have to clean it up.
Yes, sir. We're back to
Clean
normal.
up the damage. Okay. Thank you, Secretary. That is, these effects on agriculture will be very, very early pa ito. So let's move up one for that. I'll come back to it to see what we already have. Pero maaga masyado to make the proper estimates of what the damage is going to be. Perhaps in the areas kung saan na nakapasok yung mga DA para mag-assess. Pero marami pang hindi pa pwedeng puntahan eh. Especially doon sa malalayo. Anyway, so we'll get back to that. The next The next item on our agenda is a report from the SWD. Secretary Rex, you're already in Naga? Secretary Rex?
Okay. Good morning, Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, as you instructed, we were able to land in Naga this morning. If you'll allow me, Mr. President, to introduce Mayor Legacion is beside me, and Congressman Bordado of Naga is also here. We're in our mobile command center in the City Hall of Naga. Mr. President, this morning I met with Governor Luigi Villafuerte, and basically the update is of his 36 local government units, 9 of them are still submerged underwater. Of the 36, 6 are partially submerged. But the good news there, Mr. President, is the local government unit has been quite aggressive in doing house-to-house food relay. They've been delivering the family food packs of DSWD using their boats, and they are doing it house-to-house. Basically, from my discussion with Governor Villafuerte this morning, they're okay with the food. Mr. President, his main concern was water. I know we did send the water purification systems, pero nagkataon, Mr. President, na ipit ho yung trucks sa Millaor kasi naputol ho yung road na yon, medyo baha pa ho. But as an action step, Mr. President, we spoke to Manila Water and Maynilad Water. And they have already provided us with quite substantial number of those 6-gallon na lalagyan. And we are now working with the Air Force so we can airlift this. Manila Water is providing us 400 pieces of 5-gallon containers, while Maynilad is doing 2,000 6-liter containers. So I think we'll be okay with water, Mr. President, as long as we're able to deploy using the C-130s. We're working with General Browner and DND on this. Mr. President, the province is also expressing their concern on fuel kasi wala na hong nakakapasok na mga tankers kasi nga lahat sila na-trap sa Millaor, and in the south side, hindi pa rin ho nakakapasok from the Matnog port as reported by Secretary Jimmy. But on top of that, Mr. President, they have also expressed their concern about recovery efforts in terms of agriculture, housing, and I'm working with the DOH already also on augmenting their health capacities. So, Mr. President, that's all for the province, the concerns of the province. If you'll allow me, sir, I'll let Mayor Legacion speak for Naga City.
Yes,
Magandang
please,
hapon po. Magandang umaga po, Mr.
umaga.
President, sa lahat po na kasama po natin ngayon. Of the total land area po ng Naga City, around 30% po ay binaha, and around 70% of our population ay nakaranas po ng pagbaha. At sa ngayon, I think around 20,000 families residing in about 9 barangays ay baha pa rin. At dito ngayon nakafocus yung aming rescue operations as well as relief operations. Pero I must admit, Mr. President, at hinihingi po namin yung tulong, particularly ng DSWD, kinukulang na po kami sa pagkain, sa tubig. Kung matutulungan po kami ay malaking utang na loob po namin ito sa pamahalaang national, sa inyo pong administration, Mr. President. Meron pong casualty na nai-report po sa amin, 13. At of course, maraming damage to properties, both personal, even real properties. Meron po kaming isang tulay na nasira o sinira ng bagyong si Christine, at pinahinto ko na, isinara na po namin para hindi na masyadong, hindi na makakos pa ng buhay at anumang damage. So ang tingin po namin, Mr. President, hanggat hindi pa nakocross yung highways sa Millaor at hanggat hindi pa po nakakarating yung mga ayuda coming from Metro Manila, from the national government, ay mas mahihirapan pa po kami.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. President, I updated the mayor that right now, for our regional warehouse, we still have 86,000 family food packs. And I assured him, magkatabi naman ho kami, na he can pick it up anytime. He has a standing request of 30,000. We're ready to distribute that, Mr. President. Of course, he'll take charge with the last mile, pero we still have food on the ground. And I assured him already that ready ho ang national government to augment his needs. Now, yung water po, as I mentioned, Manila Water and Maynilad Waters ready to go. The moment we get the airlifts from Air Force, we should be able to provide both the province and Naga City.
All right. Thank you, Secretary Rex. Mukhang the problem is not the availability of relief goods and the responders, but it's the accessibility dun sa areas, especially in Kamsur, dahil marami pang nakalubog. Pero nag-evacuate tayo ng mabuti. So wala nang isolated na kailangang i-rescue o meron pa rin, nagre-rescue pa rin tayo ng tao na doon sa flooded areas.
Mayroon pa rin, Mr. President, mga ilan-ilan na natatanggap kaming rescue request at nagre-respond pa po kami hanggang ngayon. Pero I think we are now shifting our operations from rescue operations to relief operations. Inaasahan po namin na hanggat may baha ay patuloy na mahirapan, kinakailangan ng aming mga kababayan ng pagkain, ng tubig, maging ng damit. Ito yung una muna na necessity sa ngayon.
Mr. President, if I can speak on behalf of the province, kasi si Gov, I couldn't pull him dahil he's quite busy with his own operations kanina. Basically, Mr. President, for Camarines Sur, ang report ni Gov, wala na hong kailangan ilikas. Yung mga nakikita natin sa mga tahanan, what they're doing lang is they're waiting for the floodwaters to recede, pero ang hinihingi nila food. So that's why the province has mobilized both brigades to distribute the family food boxes of DSWD. So sa side ho ng province, wala na hong nililikas, more of food relay na lang using the boats po.
Very well. All right, but we have all of these, yes, all of these goods available. At saka na, we're seeing the pictures now of some of the relief efforts that are ongoing. Kahit na may baha pa rin, at least nakapasok na yung mga ating mga tao, together with some of the relief goods and some of the equipment that we need, yung mga water purifiers. How are we doing on the water supply? Because kahit baha, it's always the critical issue is water supply.
Mr. President, both the province and the mayor can confirm this. The water is becoming a struggle, but as mentioned, our partners, Manila Water and Maynilad, have already mobilized potable drinking water in gallons. We are currently working with the good people from the Air Force so that we can airlift these water gallons kasi medyo marami ho sila. The moment it lands, hopefully within today or tomorrow, then we should be okay because, Mr. President, marami-rami naman ho yung ibinigay ng Manila Water and Maynilad. These are the 5 gallons per container or the 6 gallons per container. They answered our call and they're ready to mobilize already, Mr. President.
All right. Okay. So it's still accessibility that we're having to deal with, the lack of accessibility that we're having to deal with. Yes. All right.
Mr. President, if I can just reiterate, for the province side, the pictures you're seeing are the operations of the province. Sa pagkain ho talaga, they've been quite aggressive already. Governor Villafuerte, Congressman El Rey, they've been on the ground. They're using their boat brigades. Marami ho talaga silang umiikot ngayon na nag-ration ng pagkain. Dito kay Mayor Legacion, I think he's doing the same. But we assured him na the stocks are ready. Magkatabi naman kami ngayon. In fact, we're plotting out the withdrawal already of the boxes from our regional warehouses.
All right. Okay. That's well, that's understood. Okay. What other requirements? You make a good point about fuel. Is there anything else like that we need to be attending to?
Mr. President, the fuel kasi na-trap doon sa Millaor dahil naputol yung road because of the flooding. But yung province, they're already looking at recovery. So that's why I spoke with Secretary Kiko kanina about relayed to him the concern ng ng province, which Secretary Kiko said he'll take care of. And then sa Disudho, they're also working, I think, with the undersecretaries of Secretary Acuzar about rebuilding the homes. Nandun na ho yung mindset ng province on the recovery because they believe the water will recede hopefully this weekend. Kasi medyo may araw na ho dito, Mr. President. They said that it's the first time they've seen the sun in quite some time. So they're quite optimistic na bababa na ho yung tubig. So they're already in the recovery mode, Mr. President.
Very good. All right. Okay. Thank you. Anything else that you would like to report? How about
For me, Mr. President, na si Mayor Ata.
outside of Bicol, are there in the other areas? What is this? What is the response so far of DSWD? Yung
Mr.
mga
President, if
Central
I can
Luzon,
request one
yung
slide
mga
down from
Central Luzon,
the presentation.
the Central Luzon provinces that have already declared calamity, Cavite and Batangas, what are we doing in those areas?
Yes, Mr. President. In the presentation that's flashed, we have already released a total of 150,000 family food packs nationwide. Mr. President, the numbers in Calabarzon are still coming in kasi kagabi lang namin nakukuha yung mga numero because the effects they started feeling the effects last night. But Mr. President, to assure you, in Calabarzon and in the Metro Manila corridor, we have close to around 250,000 family food packs ready for dispatch anytime. So, Mr. President, we're working with the local government units and the congressional offices. If they have the requirements, we keep on releasing. We've been talking to the LGUs, Mr. President.
All right. Okay. That I don't think in the other areas we have such a problem with accessibility. Talagang sa Region 5 talaga kasi yung baha hindi umaalis. I was asking some of the locals, is there something more that we can do to bring the water down? O aantayin lang talaga natin hanggat bumaba? Wala tayong magawa para i-accelerate yung paglabas ng tubig?
Mr. President, sa parte po ng Naga, kasama na din po yung Milaor area, mukhang ito talaga yung parang basin. Dito bumababa lahat ng tubig na nagagaling sa upper portion, including those in Rinconada at from Bay. Mukhang maghihintay po talaga. Sana maganda yung panahon. And yun naman yung aming paniniwala. Baka mamaya and tomorrow mukhang possible na po yung highway sa Milaor. Matapos na magsagawa ng clearing operations yung DPWH, katulong yung City Engineer's Office ng Naga City.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think we continue to concentrate on Region 5 for now because they're the ones in most need. Everybody is in need. But the accessibility problem of Region 5 is a little bit more pronounced than all the other areas. All right. Okay. Thank you, Secretary Rex, for your report. I'd just like to bring up the point that Secretary Rex talked about is the fuel. This always happens pag walang access. What are we doing about that?
Sir, talking with the fellow cabinet members, just instructed OCD to find a road route in the Bondok Peninsula and then LCTs from Bondok Peninsula to Camarines Sur, where we can ferry actually fuel vehicles, fuel tankers, etc. So there will be a shuttle, food, water, and fuel, sir, via crossing the Bondok Peninsula, that body of sea, to Pasakaw.
Have they started to?
They will start today, sir.
Okay.
And the airlift, sir.
Nakaalis na sila or they will still?
They're still logisticizing it, sir. But by today.
Putting together. Everything.
Yes, sir. And may I say also, Mr. President, Philippine Air Force already was able to go into Naga and to Legazpi.
Yes.
And we will continue the air bridge to take advantage of any gaps in the weather now.
The things that are coming up, which we have experienced before, is probably the need for airlift capability mga sa rotary siguro kasi isolated areas kahit na hindi mapasok ng land vehicle. We should
Yes, sir.
try it at least because they're already in their second 2.5 days na sila sa Region 5.
Sir, the 205th Helicopter Wing and the 505th Search and Rescue Group are deploying all Rotary assets already, sir,
All right.
to the
Sige.
area.
Okay. Yes, Secretary Tony.
Sir, if I may, in previous disasters such as Odette, we mobilized the private sector to locate their stocks in the area. And please provide access to stocks already in the area. So, sir, fuel stocks sometimes are in depots and actually already in the proximate areas where they can actually be accessible. So, sir, if I may suggest, we could call on the private sector to release. They're here po, sir, represented today.
All right. Okay. Sekmani,
Yes, Mr. President. I think the only problematic section along the Maharlika Highway to reach Camarines Sur now is actually the section in Quezon. This is in the Lopez Catanawan section. When the last few days it was not it was closed to traffic, but as of now, heavy vehicles can now pass through, Mr. President. So I think there's a good chance for the vehicles now to pass through and go to Camarines Sur, Mr. President.
marami raw talagang marami ang landslide. That areas where they did not have landslides before. The former governor was just explaining to me sa Cavite ganun. Hindi sa Cavite, sa Batangas. Batangas, yung mga area na hindi pa nakakita ng landslide noon, nag-landslide na ngayon. So, I guess our problem, yung lupa is completely saturated. Wala nang talaga pupuntahan yung tubig. Anyway, all right, okay, thank you. I think next year, the response of the Department of Health to the Typhoon Christine. Can we hear from Secretary Ted?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to highlight the actions taken by the Department of Health. We've activated actually Code Blue. Code Blue is our highest response to our disaster in Cagayan Valley, in Bicol, and Ilocos. We maintain Code White in the NCR, in Central Luzon, Mimaropa, Western Visayas. We've actually held a command conference, and some of the reports that came in, we have most of the injuries actually came from the Bicol region, 15 deaths. The landslides po, Mr. President, I think it's very clear, yung landslide kasi they're the ones that actually cause death. So it's very important that we map out where the high-risk communities are para pag malakas ang ulan and when it's continuous rain, we evacuate them also early. Not only flood-prone, kasi yun yung dapat siguro nating makita. 11 of the deaths of the 15 are from Bicol, and half of them were from the landslide. Of the recorded injuries, mostly mga wounds ito, when people rescue out of their homes from floods, they get injured. So, of the hospitals po, we have 9 facilities with minor damages. No? Of the 2 big hospitals in Bicol, Bicol Medical Center and Bicol Regional Medical Center in Albay, the one in Naga and one in Albay, are both functional, although we lost power and we also lost damage to the internet server of our Bicol Medical Center, but the hospitals are functioning. We have a couple of hospitals that are functional in Batangas, but cannot be accessed because of floods. So, yun po yung situation natin. Of the goods that we have deployed, we've actually sent out 97 million pesos worth of medical supplies and public health emergency supplies. We've also given out 36 million worth of water sanitation and hygiene. These are the blue jerry cans that we see in the evacuation centers. One can per family, and it's you just put one aqua tab, and it's potable also to replace our water filtration na hindi pa dumadating to provide drinking water for our people. Then we also have allocated 6.8 million for nutrition, 1.8 million for psychosocial support, a total of 142 million pesos, Mr. President. For the human resources, we've actually deployed our teams from the regional offices and the hospitals. So they're actually there. We usually start with the needs assessment. What we found is the highest illness reported is respiratory infection, Mr. President. Kaya maganda yung mga LGU na they build that compartmentalized because ang bilis ng spread of respiratory infection. Isang bata lang dyan may ubo, hawa-hawa na lahat. So some of the LGUs now put this compartmentalized per family so that the infections can be controlled. I've also asked our teams to distribute face masks kasi as we have more people in the evacuation centers, respiratory illness yung number one. Marami rin din tayong gastrointestinal illness and that's solvable by potable drinking water. So we distributed also hygiene kits. Alam nyo naman po, wala lang damit. They also need to take care of themselves, to clean themselves. So yung hygiene kit is a green bucket. It has soap, shampoo, sanitary napkin ng mga babae. We actually distribute that sometimes. We've also distributed, before the emergency, we actually heightened our health emergency advisories and information on social media. All the advisories about the illnesses you can get during times of the typhoon. And then we've also provided prophylaxis for our rescue workers. Sila yung at risk kasi. So we're providing them antibiotics for infections they can get during rescue operations. Yan lang po ang aking report, Mr. President. Basically, konti ang injuries and death for the magnitude of the disaster. And I thank the quick action of the Office of the President for suspending classes and work because that keeps people in their homes and safer rather than having work and then people getting trapped, injured, or angano. So I think we can still go for improvement, especially for the landslides. Yun yung mataas po kasi ang mortality sa landslide. Yung drowning, mapiprevent natin yan pag na-rescue sila. Pero yung landslide, isang bahay, natabunan ng lupa, patay talaga yung buong family nun, Mr. President.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. We'll just continue to respond. The first area that asked for medical help was again Naga and Legazpi, around Region 5, because marami nga silang casualty. And yun na nga, we haven't been able to go in yet. But we have the medicals that are in place are operating now. So how are we doing on communication, Gilbert? Bumalik na mga generally ang communication. I know power is going to take time, but
Sir, with us, we have
you
OCD
have
systems.
sufficient communication.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
Sir, Mr. President, update lang po doon sa mga water purifiers. Okay. As of 10 a.m. po this morning, nakatawid na po ng Milaor yung team po natin na may dala pong water purifiers. Meron pa po tayong naiwan dito sa Metro Manila na about 30 water purifiers na we can deploy at any time. Naka-standby po, Mr. President. 40 po yung pinadala po natin and we still have around 30 na pwede pa pong i-deploy, Mr. President. As of 10 a.m., kasama na po yung team natin ng PDRRMO po ng CAMSUR, Mr. President.
So yung team ninyo, yung 50-person team, nakapunta nakapasok na?
Nakatawid na po na Milaor.
Ando na sila?
Yes, sir.
Nandun na sila?
As of 10 a.m. po, Mr. President. Naipit po kasi sila sa Lopez and then Milaor. Nagpalipas po sila ng gabi, kagabi. Then as of 9:30 po, nakatawid na po sila, Mr. President.
Okay. All right. Yung mga gamit nyo na-deliver nyo palabas?
Opo, naitawid na po, nasa Naga City
Hindi,
Hall.
pero mula sa Naga, kasi ang mga nangangailangan sa labas din ng Naga, hindi lamang doon sa loob ng city.
Yes po. Kasama na po ng PDRRMO ng CAMSUR and may dala rin po kami mga bangka, Mr. President, for deployment po.
All right.
Mr. President, if I may, on landslides.
I think the near there.
Mr. President, on a lighter note naman po, malaki ang naitulong ng mga dams natin sa pag-mitigate ng baha. No? In the case of Magat Dam, nakapag-pre-release po kami, so napababa namin ng mga 8 meters yung level. So nung dumating na yung malakas na ulan, ang inflow was 3,200 cubic meters per second. Napakalakas talaga. So, ang release na lang namin noon is mga around 700. So, na-mitigate po natin yung baha doon. Parehas din ang kwento niyan sa Halaor Dam. Itong ating pantabangan naman po ay nasa 14 meters pa naman yung kailangan niyang punuin. So, malaki rin po na itulong nito. And in the case of San Roque Dam, Sir President, nag-release ang Ambuklaw.
Nakita namin yung report kanina, yung the one that was put up earlier. Mukha namang na-control na mabuti yung level ng dam at na mayroon tayong nagawa ahead of time na para hindi tayo mabigla, and then we will release na naman kagaya na nangyari noon. So anyway, mabuti yun at let's maintain that standard procedure from now on. Pagka basta't may parating, lalo na ngayon mukha yung mga bagyo talagang ang daming tubig na dala, kaya yun ang ating kailangan alalayan. All right, so let's move on now to the funding that will be required to support all of this relief and support and recovery for all of these areas. So we ask DBM, Sekmina, if you can.
Yes, Mr. President, good morning, and good morning to the members of the Cabinet. First slide, please. I will briefly show all our possible sources of funding. Next slide. Presented on the slide is a status of the NDRRM fund releases from 2024, GAA, and 2023 continuing appropriations. As of October 24, 2024, the NDRRM fund has a total available balance of 1.983 billion pesos, of which 1.845 billion is from our 2024 General Appropriations Act, and the remaining 139 million pesos is from 2023 continuing appropriations. However, from the remaining balance, we still have a pending request for QRF replenishment for SARO issuance in the total of 1 billion pesos, broken down as follows: DPWH, 1 billion pesos, DILG PNP, 25 million pesos, and DND OCT, 37.5 million pesos. The available balance of the NDRRMF after the issuance of ZARO for this QRF augmentation request will be 921.4 million pesos. Now on the QRF, based on the tentative report submitted by respective implementing departments and agencies as of September 30, 2024, the recipient agencies were able to obligate 14.7 billion pesos or 48.8% out of the total allocations received for QRF as of October 24, 2024 of the 30.093 billion pesos. The fiscal year 2024 allotment received for QRF is at 19.088 billion pesos, which is broken down as follows. For agency-specific QRF appropriations, it's 7.925 billion pesos. And for QRF replenishments from NDRRMF, it's 11.163 billion pesos. The fiscal year 2023 continuing appropriations of 11 billion pesos represents QRF unobligated allotments for fiscal year 2023. Now, on the next slide, we will show the utilization rates of recipient departments and agencies. To date, the slide shows that the DILG PNP was able to obligate a total amount received of QRF amounting to 58 million pesos. On the other hand, the DepEd OSEC, with the highest QRF allocation of 3.5 billion pesos, recorded the second lowest utilization with only 7.43%, slightly higher than the DILG BFP of 7.34%. Shown on this slide, Mr. President, are the balances of the QRF that are already within the departments. As you can see, Mr. President, for the Department of Agriculture, they still have more than 1.5 billion ready for usage. For DepEd, more than 3 billion for repairs of school buildings. DILG, Bureau of Fire, they still have budget. PNP, they've already used up their QRF. OCD, almost finished with 75%. DPWH, OSEC, they still have roughly 60% of their QRF fund for usage. DSWD, it's almost finished. I'm in touch with SecRex and just waiting for the request for the balance of QRF that you need. It's more than roughly, I think, 500 million pesos. I'm just waiting for the letter, Sec, and then we'll release it within the day. And then the DOH, sir, we still have funding, but let me know if you need more. And the DOTR, Philippine Coast Guard, 50% of their budget has been utilized. Now, for other funding sources, we all know that the Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund, we're in no less than 5% of the estimated revenue from local government units. Regular sources can also be used to support disaster risk management activities, including pre-disaster preparedness programs, post-disaster activities, and for the payment of premiums of calamity insurance. Of the amount appropriated, 30% should be allocated for respective QRFs, Mr. President. Under funding sources, Section 22 of all government departments, bureaus, offices, and agencies are authorized to use a portion of their appropriations to implement projects designed to address DRRM in accordance with guidelines issued by the NDRRMC in coordination with the Department of Budget and Management. For example, under the DPWH, they still have a balance of 4.38 billion, which I think they've been using it, that can cover maintenance of regularly performed on national roads and bridges throughout the year. The maintenance activities include, among others, various work categories such as temporary repairs of roadways, shoulder maintenance, drainage maintenance, replacement of pavements, among others. SecMali, this is on top of the QRF requirement that you requested. And the same with the Department of Health, the MAIP. To date, we still have a balance of 11 million, Secretary. So I guess it's already downloaded to the respective regional offices. We hope that they'll be able to utilize, and then we'll be releasing, I guess, 10 billion. You have a pending request now of 10 billion pesos. It's for signature today, so we'll have it released today, Secretary, Mr. President. And another source could be the contingent fund. It has a balance of 10.33 billion pesos to date, Mr. President. The appropriation may be utilized for funding requirements of new and urgent activities or projects of the national government agencies, GOCCs, local government units that needs to be implemented or paid during the year, Mr. President. So we still have 10.33 billion of this. And assuming we need more, Mr. President, we still have, I just received a certification from the Bureau of Treasury, Department of Finance for unprogrammed appropriations. So assuming we need more funding, Mr. President, we can tap the unprogrammed appropriations. Rest assured, Mr. President and members of the Cabinet, that the DBM remains unwavering in the commitment to provide funds to the agencies that require support for programs focused on immediate disaster response and rehabilitation, Mr. President.
Right. So certainly the ones that are to the different agencies are already with them, so that's readily available. The other requirements, like siguro John Vic, yung mga QRF ng local, wala na yan. Ubus na yan, matagal na naubos yan. So they will need more support.
Yes, sir.
Para anyway, so doon natin kukunin doon sa not only the agencies but also the from the DBM kung ano pa yung mga kailangan natin. Now is the time to download all of the MAIC and AICs and UDA that we still have. All right. All right. that's pretty much it. There's just one thing I wanted to ask the experts. If there is another approaching weather system, we have to take that into account. Because kung aayusin natin, and then 3 days later, sisirain din ng susunod, sayang lang yung ginawa natin. At the same time, in those 3 days, kailangan ng tao na may daan, na may... how do we handle this so that we make maximum use of our resources? Sec Gilbert, maybe you have an idea on what is the concept, how we should apply our resources. Certainly, ang mga relief, yung mga rescue relief, wala na, hindi natin pwedeng i-delay yan dahil buhay na ng tao yan. So we just have to keep going in that. Now, when it comes to the rebuilding or repairing, all of these things, what are we have to think in the slightly, not short term. Paano ang handling natin dyan? Kasi yun ang inaalala ko, nangyayari, madalas mangyari yan eh. Bagong gawa yung kalsada or whatever, kaka-inaugurate, ribbon cutting lang natin, 1 week later, sira na dahil may dumaan na bagyo. That's what I would like to, hopefully to avoid.
Yes, Mr. President. I think, excuse me. The protocol that we are adopting in the department is once in response to calamities, actually, the first thing that we do is actually just to clear out the roadways, actually to restore immediately
yun
traffic.
Necessary yun kasi we need those thoroughfares para ipasok yung gamit at saka yung mga tao.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
that's what we're going to have to contend with.
And then after that, we have to look into the permanent restoration program for those damages, Mr. President. So to be more permanent, especially in yung mga vulnerable areas.
Okay. Yes. But in all that we do, let's keep that in mind. Wimpy, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Mr. President.
Wimpy wants to...
Yeah, the time that you were sponsoring the Department of Housing and Urban Dev, there is an enumeration of the MHS policy on basic needs and the hierarchy.
Okay.
And that was designed precisely to respond to situations like this. So the priorities are as follows. It's water facilities that we have to concentrate on. So during these 3 days, we have to replenish water, and then the energy, including the fuel, and then the food, clothing, shelter, health, education, and then the rest is what was mentioned by DPWH. It's access, it's livelihood, it's recreation, and ICT, and the overall security where the PNP and the other security sector is concerned. So, demands-based approach po siya, and dun po yung tutukan ng government and the community. Protectionan yung 13 basic needs, and then just prepare for the next.
Okay. All right. Well, my concern that I just spoke about fixing something that will just be destroyed a few days later, that also applies to power. Oo. Kaya
Yes, sir.
yan ang kailangan natin alalahanin. Anyway, it's not an easy situation. There's no simple answer to any of this. We'll just have to keep monitoring the situation and make sure always the rescue and relief are that cannot stop. It doesn't matter if there's another storm coming. We cannot stop. That cannot stop. And then the support that we are giving, that the SWD giving, is those who have been displaced, who are still in evacuation centers, or they are staying with outside of their own homes, wherever that might be, with relatives or friends. That also cannot stop. So those are the main elements, I think. Sa Agri, Sekiko, well. At what, nakapag-ani na ba sa...
Mr. President,
The order in the middle of harvest.
we have already harvested about, depending on each area, 60 to 70%. And actually, before the storm hit, a week before the storm hit, we accelerated harvesting and buying from NFA then. So nakatulong naman yun, sir.
Yeah, so we'll have to make up for that 30 to 40% kung sakali na not outright na destroyed.
Hopefully, hindi naman ho, but yes.
Well,
But we have enough stock,
kung-
sir. Then we have Kadiwa trucks also going
Yes,
to
that's right,
Kamsur,
yes.
and we also have NFA rice ordered by the LGUs being deployed as we speak. Plus, to prepare for what is coming, we also instructed NFA to send additional rice above and beyond what was requested.
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
And then we'll just keep me updated about the damages that that our people are seeing in terms of the agricultural sector. All right. Well, that's the situation now. What as we have already experienced, as we have experienced many times, there are phases to the thing. There's the rescue phase, then the relief phase, and then the recovery phase, where we start to bring our people back to their normal homes, residences. It is made much more complicated by the fact that lawak nung effect, napakalawak yung effect ng bagyo. So, what happened is that Bicol is in one phase, Central Luzon is in another phase, first Region 1-2 will be in another phase. So it became complicated because ang laki ang pagkatama, tapos ang tama hindi sabay-sabay, iba-iba. At siyempre, dumaan ng dahan-dahan. So we just have to be more creative and be able to maximize our resources. All right, batay ko, nandyan na yung sundo ko. We're going to make an inspection. So, okay, just keep me informed, and whatever problems arise, just raise them up with me. And if not, actually, amongst yourselves, if you can solve it, let's do it that way, as quickly as possible. Just remember, there are people still in water right now. They are still flooded. They're walking around with water up to their waist. They have no water supply. They have no food. They have no place to stay. So if you think you're tired, think about what their condition is. So let's always keep that in mind. And as a last item, I'm happy to note that the other our partners in the private sector are here. There is the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation.
I'm over here, Mr. President.
There, yeah, that's right. There you are, and Arise from
Here,
the
Mr. President.
SM Group, and of course the Red Cross, who is always present at these things. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for the help that you will be providing. Okay, I think that's it for now. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Inyo bang napakinggan ang situation briefing na pinangunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Sa iba pang balita, pinatitiyak ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa Department of Social Welfare and Development o DSWD na dapat walang magugutom na biktima ng Bagyong Christine. Bukod dito, sinabi ni DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian na inatasan din sila ni Pangulong Marcos na kagyat magpadala ng tulong pinansyal sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo. Anya ipinagutos ng Pangulo ang tuloy-tuloy na relief operations sa lahat ng lugar na matinding tinamaan ng Bagyong Christine.
makakaasa ho kayo na tuloy-tuloy po yan. Yan ang ating instruction ng ating mahal na Pangulo na walang pamilya o walang biktima ng kalamidad na to na magugutom. Pangalawa, kapag bumaba na ho ang tubig baha, sisiguraduhin naman natin na ang mga cash relief or cash assistance magsisimula na sa mabilis na panahon.
CDSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian.
Kumpleto, detalyadong balitaan, di papahuli sa mahahalagang kaganapan. Kamustahin ang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas ngayon.
Plano ng gobyerno na magpatayo ng marami pang repacking facilities para mapabilis ang pagpapadala ng tulong sa mga naapektuhan ng bagyo. Ayon kay Social Welfare Secretary Rex Gatchalian, bahagi ito ng anticipatory action ng administrasyon para matiyak na mabilis matatanggap ng publiko ang tulong.
We want to make sure na bukod sa mga regional, provincial, municipal warehouses natin, yung repacking center natin nakakalat rin dapat sa buong bansa. So that's something that we're working on right now.
CDSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas ngayon.
109,000 family food packs na ipaabot na ng Department of Social Welfare and Development o DSWD sa mga apektado ng Bagyong Christine. May report si Marian Bastasa.
Sumampa na sa 109,000 family food packs ang naipamahagi ng Department of Social Welfare and Development o DSWD sa tuloy-tuloy na distribusyon ng relief pack sa mga naapektuhan ng Bagyong Christine. Kasama rito ang mga nakapreposisyon sa mga DSWD field office, mga na-release sa mga LGUs at mga ongoing deliveries. Kabilang sa naabutan naman ng food packs ang mga rehiyon ng Bicol, Mimaropa, Calabarzon, Central Luzon, Cagayan Valley, Car, Ilocos, Western Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga at Sorsogon. Pinakamalaki ang nailaan sa Bicol Region na labis na pinadapa ng bagyo. Aabot sa 68,000 ang ipinamahagi ditong food packs na bukod pa sa hot meals na araw-araw inihahanda ng DSWD. Una na rin sinabi ni DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian na nasa 100,000 kahon pa ng family food packs ang dadalhin sa Bicol Region. Bukod dito, handa rin ang ahensya na maglaan ng karagdagang financial aid bilang suporta sa iba pang pangangailangan ng mga biktima ng kalamidad. Ito si Marian Bastasa para sa Radyo Pilipinas.
Kumpleto, detalyadong balitaan, di papahuli sa mahahalagang kaganapan. Kamustahin ang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas ngayon.
Nakahanda na ang air assets ng Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP para sa rescue and relief efforts sa mga komunidad na naapektuhan ng Bagyong Christine. Ayon sa Office of Civil Defense o OCD, mayroong 17 air assets ang AFP na nakahanda na sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa para i-deploy sa mga apektadong lugar. Sabi ni OCD spokesperson Director Edgar Posadas, padating na ang vital support sa Bicol na siyang pinakatinamaan ng matinding pagbaha.
Meron din po tayong 17 na air assets na naka-preposition sa Villamor, naka-preposition sa Cebu, which are readily deployable, weather permitting, kasi we have to be sure din po that our pilots, our assets are safe. And yan po ay commitment, and we are going to keep it.
Si Office of Civil Defense o OCD spokesman Director Edgar Posadas.
Kumpleto, detalyadong balitaan, di papahuli sa mahahalagang kaganapan. Kamustahin ang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas ngayon.
Magpapadala pa ang gobyerno ng mas maraming reinforcement team para tumulong sa mga biktima ng Bagyong Christine. Ayon kay Office of Civil Defense o OCD spokesperson Edgar Posadas, nananatiling prioridad sa rescue operation ang Bicol. Anya, una nang rumeresponde sa Bicol ang Southern Luzon Command ng Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Merong padating na mga reinforcement from the Southern Luzon Command, both personnel and equipment. And at the same time, magpapadala din ng tulong doon, kasi we practice at OCD yung pagtulong po ng mga less affected the mga regions to assist nearby regions.
Si Office of Civil Defense spokesperson Edgar Posadas.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Mga kinatawa ng Department of Health o DOH Health Emergency Response Team o HERT, agad na rumisponde sa mga evacuation centers. Magbabalita si Michael Rogas.
Agad na rumisponde sa mga evacuation centers ang mga kinatawan ng Department of Health Emergency Response Team mula sa iba't ibang rehiyon upang magbigay ng kaukulang medical intervention sa mga nangangailangan nito dulot ng bagyong Christine. Nabigyan ng mga high-end kit, iba't ibang klase ng mga gamot at konsultasyon ang ilang mga evacuees matapos ang initial assessment sa kanila sa ilang mga evacuation centers sa Bicol Region. Sinisiguro naman ng DOH na magiging sapat ang supply ng disinfectant, chlorine, granules at aqua tubs na importante upang mapanatili ang personal hygiene at access sa mga evacuees sa malinis na tubig at sanitation. Bukas naman 24/7 ang ilang local emergency operations center at patient navigation referral unit para ma-monitor ang ilang palugar sa mga rehiyon na mangangailangan ng karagdagang tulong. Ito si Michael Rogas para sa Radyo Pilipinas.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Rubber boats at iba pang water rescue equipment mula kay Speaker Romualdez nakatakdang ipadala sa Bicol. Magbabalita si Kathleen Forbes.
20 rubber boats na may Yamaha outboard motors ang nakatakdang ipadala sa Bicol Region ayon kay ako Bicol Portales Representative Elizalde Co. Ipapagamit ang rubber boats sa iba't ibang ahensya gaya ng 49 IBD, PNP Maritime Group, Philippine Coast Guard, LGU at NAVFOR SOL para makatulong sa mga water rescue operations sa Bicol Region na lubog sa baha dahil sa bagyong Christine. Maliban dito may kasama itong water rescue equipment tulad ng life vest, life buoy, traction rope at rope throwing bag. Malaki naman ang pasasalamat ni Ko kay Speaker Martin Romualdez na tumulong para sa dagdag na kagamitang ito. Oras na gumanda na ang panahon, ngayong araw ay agad ibabiyahe ang mga rubber boats na ito pa Bicol. Ito si Kathleen Forbes para sa Radyo Pilipinas.
Kumpleto, detalyadong balitaan, di papahuli sa mahahalagang kaganapan. Kamustahin ang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Nakahanda na ang 80.21 milyong pisong halaga ng tulong gobyerno sa mga magsasaka na biktima ng bagyong Christine. Ayon sa Department of Agriculture o DA, ipapamahagi ang naturang halaga para sa seedlings ng palay, mais, high-value crops, drugs at biologics. Maaari ring makahiram ng pera ang mga magsasaka na nang aabot sa 25,000 piso na walang interes sa loob ng 3 taon. Sinabi ni Agriculture Secretary Chu Laurel Jr. na may mga ulat ng pinsala sa agrikultura na vina-validate na para sa distribusyon ng tulong.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Bilang ng mga apektadong paaralan, patuloy nang nadaragdagan dahil sa pananalasa ng bagyong Christine. Detalye ng balita mula kay J. Mark Dagala.
Patuloy pang naragdagan ang bilang ng mga apektadong paaralan dahil sa pananalasa ng bagyong Christine. Batay sa datos ng Department of Education, pumalo na sa mahigit 37,000 mga paaralan ang apektado buhat sa 15 rehiyon. Tumaas din ang bilang ng mga paaralan na nagsisilbi ngayong evacuation centers na nasa 352 habang ang mga binaha at natabunan ng lupa ay umabot na sa 144. Umakyat na rin sa mahigit 1 bilyong piso ang naitarang pinsala sa mga paaralan na dulot ng bagyong Christine. 322 rito ay totally damaged o tuluyan na sira habang nasa 504 naman ang partially o bahagyan nawasak ng bagyo. Samantala, aabot naman sa mahigit 19 na milyong mag-aaral ang naapektuhan ng bagyo, gayon din ang nasa 733,000 mga guro at non-teaching personnel. J. Mark Dagala, Radyo Pilipinas.
Kumpleto, detalyadong balitaan, di papahuli sa mahahalagang kaganapan. Kamustahin ang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon ng Provincial Evacuation Center sa panahon ng kalamidad, giniit ni Senador Francis Tolentino. Narito si Nympha Asuncion.
Binigyang diin ni Senate Majority Leader Francis Tolentino na ang kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon ng Provincial Evacuation Centers sa panahon ng sakuna. Sa gitna ng pananalasa ng bagyong Christine sa Bicol, inihayag ni Tolentino na mahalaga ang pagkakaroon ng Provincial Evacuation Centers para mabigyan ng mga lokal na pamahalaan at rescuers ng karagdagang opsyon kung saan ligtas na madadala ang mga apektadong residente. Binahagi ng Office of Civil Defense o OCD ng Bicol na aktibong nagagamit ang Provincial Evacuation Centers ng rehiyon sa rescue at relief operations. Itinuturing ang Bicol bilang isa sa pinaka-disaster prone na rehiyon ng bansa dahil sa lokasyon nito at madalas na daanan ng mga bagyo, gayon din ang presensya ng mga aktibong bulkan. Kaya naman sa taunang budget mula noong taong 2022 ay itinulak na ng senador ang konstruksyon ng Provincial Evacuation Center sa Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Sorsogon, Masbate at Catanduanes. Samantala, nanawagan rin si Tolentino sa mga grupo at individual na nais magpaabot ng tulong na makipag-ugnayan sa mga ahensya ng gobyerno para mapabilis ang relief operations sa mga kababayan natin sa Bicol. Ito si Nympha Asuncion para sa Radyo Pilipinas.
Pasada ng mga balita mula sa Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino saan man sa mundo. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
At yan ang ating nakalap na mga national news. Samantala, narito naman po ang mga balita mula sa ating mga kasamahan sa iba't ibang mga rehiyon dito sa ating bansa para sa ating regional news ngayong araw na ito.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Epekto ng bagyong Christine hindi gaanong ramdam sa La Union, mga local government units o LGU naging maagap sa paghahanda. Si Albert Kawile ng RP Agoo sa report.
Nupay na ipasidong iti signal number 3 iti entero probinsya. Sa anunay anarik na di epekto ti bagyo Christine iti probinsya ti La Union. Sakbay asimmang pati bagyo, proaktibo dagiti lokal a gobyerno iti panagsagana ken panangisayan ka iti preemptive evacuation. Kadagiti pamilyang agnanaed kadagiti nalaka malayos a lugar. Agdagop iti 2 patapula pamilya katupag iti 7 30 individual tina-evacuate kadagiti evacuation centers, particular kadagiti ili ti Luna, Bangar, Balawan, Bacnotan, Santo Tomas, Rosario ken ti San Fernando. Mismo ani Governor Rafi Ortega David tinaglikmot kadagiti evacuation centers tapno mangipay iti tulong ken tapno masigurado ang nasayati kasasaad dagiti nagbakwit. Agarup sang ariba food packs ken non-food items tinaiwaras ti gobyerno provincial ken sinigurado na nga dapay umdas a maiwaras no bilang umado ti bilang dagiti apektado. Nupay na dandi brownout iti 35 a barangay dagos a naisubli ti serbisyo ti kuryente. Gaputan na dagdagos ti panagtignay dagiti kompanya ti kuryente nga dan coverage kadagitoy aluglugar. Iti agdama awan iti nai-report ang nadadahal kadagiti apit ken mangnamnama dagiti lokal a gobyerno asana nakaro ti epekto ti bagyo iti sektor ti agrikultura. Manipod RP Ago, Albert Kawile para Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Albert Kawile. Higit 700 pamilya sa Pangasinan inilikas sa mga evacuation center dahil sa epekto ng bagyong Christine. Pamamahagi ng relief packs nagpapatuloy. Si Ricky Kasipit ng RP Dagupan sa balita.
Walay dagop ya siyam na tan walura ya pamilya o 3,000 tan 17 ya individual dyan Pangasinan so walat evacuation center o nungad Pangasinan Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office o PDRMO na ika-24 ya Oktubre 2024. Sararayan tutuo at saray na apektuhan ya bagyon Christine na nibitlan agaw sa masakbay evacuation at saray apektadon pamilya at nungad ganganan Pangasinan Governor Ramon Gico III pinasiguro sigurado'y kamaungan daray residente ni Romney. 480 hygiene kits untan met. So agni bilang niya relief packs sa inbunog ya provincial government ya Pangasinan. Walamat iray balay jaduyag ya Pangasinan, ya adalap kaiba iray traditional low-lying areas tan coastal areas. Kiibad Sararayan Balay sa Alaminos City, Binmalay, Dagupan City, Sual, Infanta, Labrador, San Fabian, Lingayen, Tan Bulinaw, unungad kindi Pia Flores, Manapod Pangasinan PDRMO, imababalay dala nakalap dyan balay Bulinaw tal Labrador dyan pareho ni Bitlan Agaw. Manlalapod dyan Dagupan City Pangasinan aya si Ricky Kasipit para sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Ricky Kasipit. Forced evacuation sa mga residenteng naninirahan malapit sa dagat sa Balayan, Batangas, ipinatutupad. Pamilyang nasa evacuation center sa lalawigan umaabot na sa mahigit 400. Ang detalye mula kay May Formaran ng RP Lucena.
Nagpatupad na ng forced evacuation ang lokal na pamahalaan ng Balayan, Batangas sa mga residenteng malapit sa dagat dahil sa nararanasang pagbaha dulot ng bagyong Christine. Ayon sa pabatid ni Mayor Junior Fronda, posible ring magdeklara ng state of calamity ang lokal na pamahalaan dahil sa pinsalang inabot nito. Samantala, ayon sa pabatid ng Batangas PIO sa huling situational report ng PDRRMO, umaabot na sa kabuuang 440 pamilya o may katumba sa 1,557 na mga individual sa lalawigan ang pansamantalang lumikas sa mga evacuation center at kanilang mga kamag-anak dahil sa pananalasa ng bagyo. Mayroon ng 2 totally damaged at 24 na partially damaged na kabahayan ang naitatala sa buong lalawigan. Ibinahagi ni Batangas PDRRMO Chief Dr. Amor Calayan na nakadeploy na ang rescue and response teams ng probinsya para sa pagsasagawa ng rescue operations and assistance and rapid damage assessment and needs analysis o RDNA. Nakatutok na rin ang PSWDO para sa deployment ng mobile kitchen para sa paghahatid ng hot meal sa mga apektado ng bagyo. Nagkakaloob na rin ang Provincial Health Office ng mga gamot at iba pang medical needs na evacuees. Mula sa RP1 Lucena, ito si May Formaran para sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, May Formaran. 11 munisipyo at 1 lungsod sa Eastern Samar isinailalim sa State of Calamity. May ulat si Sok Aberian ng RP Borongan.
Ginpailaro may state of calamity in 11 nga mga munisipyo sa nga syudad na probinsya ng Eastern Samar ng Merkules, Oktubre 23, tungudan mga pagbabaha daran severe tropical storm Christine kundiin maabotin por lo menos 16,000 nga mga pamilya ng probinsya ton apektado. Ginisa ang state of calamity han norte nga mga munisipyo han probinsya lakip na dinhi adton syudadhan Borongan, Bungtuhan Maydolong, San Julian, Sulat, Taft, Canavid, Dolores, Uras, San Policarpo, Arteche, Maslug ug Gipapad. Ginaprubaran ang nasabi nga deklarasyon ang sanggunian panlalawigan kataliwan han rekomendasyon tikang adton local government units durante han gindumarang nga Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council meeting nga pinangunahan ni Eastern Samar Governor Ben Evardoni. Tika nga syudadhan Borongan, Sok Aberia, Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Sok Aberia. Bureau of Fire Protection o BFP Calbayog, handa na para sa darating na Undas 2024. Narito si Charmaine Perito ng RP Calbayog.
Sa nahikay nga report sa Radyo Pilipinas Calbayog sa Bureau of Fire Protection, BFP Calbayog City Fire Station, ilarom sa pagpamuno ni Acting City Fire Marshal Fire Senior Inspector Teresito T. Tuwazon, tinikangan niya na maabot Domingo, Oktubre 27, tubtob Martes, Oktubre 29, naka-heightened alert status code blue and buhatan, pagpangandam para sa uplan kaluluwa, kasumpay sa pag-obserbar sa Undas 2024. Tinikangan adlaw Miyerkules, Oktubre 30, tubtob Sabado, Nobyembre 2, naka-full alert status code red and buhatan, ngan pagka Nobyembre 3, ada sa white alert status o balik na sa normal ang operasyon. Ang mga personahe sa BFP Calbayog ang nagde-deploy sa strategic locations sa syudad, sugad sa mga sementeryo ug mga simbahan. Yan nga pag-obserbar sa Undas, nagpapahinomdom ang BFP nga maging mabinantayon ug tanan nga oras himuon prioridad ang fire safety precautions. Nagtikang sa Radyo Pilipinas Kalbayog, Charmaine Perito para sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Charmaine Perito. Pagbibigay halaga sa mga karapatan ng isang persons deprived of liberty o PDL kabilang sa layunin ng National Correctional Consciousness Week celebration. Balita mula kay Nerissa Espinosa ng RP Tandag.
Ang pag-ila sa tawhanong katungod sa mga persons deprived of liberty o PDLs may usa sa mga katuyuan sa pagsaulog sa National Correctional Consciousness Week matag ikatulong simana sa Oktubre. Sa pamahayag ni Jail Senior Inspector Danilo Noquil, Acting District Jail Warden sa BJMP Surigao del Sur District Jail, kabahin sa mga aktibidades nila karon maong paghatag og libreng legal services pinaagi sa Public Attorney's Office o PAO, konsultasyon sa Parole and Probation Office, pagpahigayon og mga sports ug spiritual activities, mga skills training pinaagi sa TESDA ug pagtunol og hinabang gikan sa DOLE ug DSWD. Sa kasamtangan, adunay 80 ka mga PDLs nga anaa ilawom sa pagdumala sa Surigao del Sur District Jail. Gikan sa RP Tandag, kini si Nerissa Espinosa alang sa Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Nerissa Espinosa. Ministry of Social Services and Development o MSSD Sulu, patuloy ang kalingad serbisyo sa mga returning Filipinos o RF mula Sabah, Malaysia. Narito ang ulat ni Eloisa Mohamad ng RP Holo.
Matod pa in yuon mui Filipino dahil nga Sabah, Malaysia sumuno mga adlaw inin kaya bahagi Jean Rose Halipa, alternate DRRM Focals in Ministry of Social Services and Development atau MSSD Sulu. Mapuas siyang bakansin upis ina muna kalalagyan si mga returning Filipinos atau RF. Matod pa lang niya programs in MSSD amun makajay na kahampitan. Hapat matanto makabangon iban di na mapuhus tumulak pagwahula magbalik in mga ini. Manjari sila magkainahon pa mga Municipal Social Welfare Officer haluan haso paya magkahati ang mga program makajay na kasuran iban kahampitan. Habihaon wala day sa blong niya na hundungin pagsangsa sin upis misan gimuha sin regulan niyaon in kaisunan dayng ha Supreme Court sina insulu bukod na bahagi sin Bangsamoro Autonomous Region Muslim Mindanao. Masijuko lang pa niya in supply ha upis amon kabiyaksan ni pagdihil nila pa mga RF benasin kawantag 5 kilo bukas iban family food packs. Dayng ha RP Holo, Eloisa Muhammad para Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Balita mula sa lalawigan sa bawat rehiyon ng ating bayan. Dito sa Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.
Maraming salamat, Eloisa Mohamad. At narinig po ninyo ang mga balita mula po sa iba't ibang lalawigan dito sa Pilipinas sa pamamagitan po ng ating regional news. Iyan po ang kabuuan ng ating programang Ang Pilipinas Ngayon. Maraming salamat sa ating mga nakasama sa technical side, kina Milo Jonella, Susan Aison at Anthony Pimentel. Maraming salamat din sa ating executive producer, Steph Vicente at Jerome Toledo, sa mga nagulat mula sa iba't ibang lalawigan ng ating bansa para sa ating regional news. At maraming salamat din sa ating station manager, Mr. Ray Sampang. Hanggang sa susunod na edisyon ng ating programang Ang Pilipinas Ngayon, ito si Bea Gaza, magandang araw.
At yan ang Pilipinas Ngayon. Muling samahan si Ben Blones sa parehong oras at alamin ang pinakahuling mga kaganapan at balita saan man kayo naroon. Ang Pilipinas Ngayon.